This is how Eddie Howe set up against Liverpool at Anfield, and this is how Eddie Howe set up against Liverpool at Wembley. Liverpool never saw this coming, and this was the key tactic that helped Newcastle claim their first trophy in over 70 years. We're going to break down how Eddie Howe's signature tactic outsmarted Arne Slot, the key Newcastle trait that helped them win the battle at Wembley, and why Newcastle's fullbacks were vital in helping them lift the EFL Cup. Welcome to a game in two halves, and Newcastle's road to victory didn't start at Wembley. It started on the 26th of February when Newcastle played Liverpool at Anfield. Eddie Howe admitted after the final that we didn't want to show them our hand when we played them at Anfield, and he wasn't joking about. Newcastle not only dropped Alexander Isak, but they went out and played a 4-4-2 mid-block that's so uncharacteristic of an Eddie Howe team. But at Wembley, Newcastle reverted back to their trademark man-to-man high press. And you can see it's Harvey Barnes who moves in from that left wing position up alongside Alexander Isak, both in open play and from goal kicks like in this situation. And Isak and Barnes' role is to press the two centre-backs if they're to receive the ball. Murphy's in his traditional right wing position. Tonali, who's usually in a deeper number 6 position, he's now moved up alongside Bruno Guimaraes, and their job is to get amongst those double pivots of Liverpool and Gravenberch and McAllister. But there's a key difference to how Newcastle set up in this man-to-man press. What you would usually expect is the left back to maybe be marking the left winger or the right winger. Salah's the key threat here. And the reason why Newcastle changed its approach is the strength that Salah has when he is attempting to pin the opposition fullback. And with Harvey Barnes tucking in along Alexander Isak, there's a big old gap where Kwanzaa could receive the ball, and Eddie Howe solved this by pushing Tino Livramento up, which then moved him away from Salah, and it also brought out the strength of Dan Burn, who's used to those aerial duel situations, can handle Salah's strength, and it worked perfectly at Wembley. And in this situation, Dan Burn just maneuvers Salah underneath the ball with ease, and it happened time and time again in the game. And throughout the whole first half, Liverpool rarely tried to play through that Newcastle press, scared of making it a transition game where Newcastle are great at nicking balls in that central area and then breaking against the opposition. They decided to go long. Alexander Isak, Liverpool had comfortable possession, but his pressing, the intensity he showed in that first half to get amongst Van Dijk, forced that ball back to Kelleher. And you can see Konate, he's not even making an option for Kelleher. And this is where Newcastle's other tactic came in, with how they set up at the back. And as in previous games where they faced a high press, man-to-man system, Liverpool don't mind going long, unsettling that back line with the physicality, and then winning the second balls and hitting them on the break. But what they weren't anticipating was how good Newcastle were winning them aerial duels and the role of Joe Linton. He was there to man Mark Szoboszlai, but as soon as that ball went over his head, he would drop, get in front of that back line, and allow them to just deal with that ball in behind if it's one, or win the first header and try and get Newcastle going with their second balls. And in this situation, it's a great header from Joe Linton, just heads it into an area where Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes were, and Bruno Guimaraes picks this ball up and Newcastle are off on the counter-attack. And if we look at the XG timeline from the game, we can see just how effective this Newcastle tactic was. Liverpool only had one shot in the whole first half. They only had 7 shots. They're used to averaging 17 shots per game in the Premier League this season. Just so clever from Eddie Howe, setting up differently at Anfield, surprising them, keeping something back from Arne Slot in that game. And it worked perfectly at Wembley. And with Liverpool fearful of playing out from the back, playing these long direct balls, making it a back and forth game, it made it a game that Newcastle loved. It brought out the trait that is so trademark of this Eddie Howe Newcastle team, and that is their physicality. If we look at the data from the game, Newcastle won 58% of their duels, 54% of their ground duels, 68% of their aerial duels. If Liverpool's tactic was to go long, it just wasn't working. And Newcastle also did the same back to Liverpool. They didn't want to play out from the back. They wanted to avoid Liverpool's high press altogether, and that really unsettled Liverpool and their rhythm in the game. And it's genius from Eddie Howe. Liverpool had only just come out of a midweek game where it went to extra time against PSG in the Champions League. They made it a physical game, a game where you have to run back and forth to your own goal, and that, over the course of the whole 90 minutes, just took it out of Liverpool. Making individual errors and build up, not really having the energy to get up and down the pitch, make options for the player on the ball. And this suited Newcastle perfectly in the game. Now, if you're enjoying this analysis, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and let me know down in the comments, how was this game won and lost for Newcastle and Liverpool? Who were the key players that influenced the game? And talking about key players, we have to talk about Newcastle's fullbacks. I've been saying it all season, attack down Salah's side. That is how you exploit this Liverpool team. That is how any team for the rest of the season should go about attacking Liverpool. And you can see from this example here, it's a transition moment, just lost the ball. Dan Burn picks it up. But look at the body shape and just the awareness of Mo Salah versus Tino Livramento. Livramento is already turning to go on his bike as he sees that loose ball moment, and Salah just has no interest in tracking him. Look at this next steal. Dan Burn, lovely little pass into Tino Livramento's feet, and they're off. Salah doesn't really track this at all, just lets Tino Livramento go, and it's just easy out balls for Newcastle. Harvey Barnes wide on that left side, trying to pin Gerald Kwanzaa from going to press. Gravenberch has to come across, and this is where Tino Livramento again just shone in this game. His use of overlapping and underlapping runs to exploit this left side. Beautiful little pass to Harvey Barnes. Makes a lovely run just inside Kwanzaa that confuses both Konate and Gravenberch from going to pick him up. Harvey Barnes plays a little return ball back into his path, cross into the box, and this is where the quality shines through for Newcastle in their attack. I can't tell you, I've never seen Jacob Murphy leap this high. Robertson just gets underneath the ball. The leap from Murphy is Ronaldo-esque. The height of the crossbar he gets up to. Isak's lovely movement to just peel away from Van Dijk, who's ball watching. And it's a lovely finish from Alexander Isak into that bottom left-hand corner. But that all starts from that relationship between Tino Livramento and Mo Salah. Tino Livramento had 7 carries in that game, carrying Newcastle up the pitch large distances and getting them moving on the attack. And you can see the left side bias in this game, Newcastle favouring Salah's side, easy out balls to attack Liverpool. And you can see it wasn't just the attacking side of the game where Tino Livramento shone. That defensive side of the game and how he locked down Salah was just as impressive. Now there's so many situations I could have brought up, but this one early on in the game typified the kind of battle that they was going to have in this game. You can see Gravenberch shifts it onto his left side, tries to find that passing angle into Mo Salah's feet. But you can see the difference in the body positioning of both players. Salah just about tries to pin Tino Livramento, but Livramento just already has shoved past him, read the passing triggers, and got in front of Mo Salah, and then they're off. And this happened time and time again. Livramento just sticking to his task, and the amount of times he snuffed Salah in this game was ridiculous. But for all the freedom Tino Livramento had in attack, Trippier, the one that we expected to move forward, exploit Liverpool down that right-hand side, had a different role in this game. And when we saw the team sheet, we probably all expected Tino Livramento to stick to Mo Salah throughout the whole game, and Trippier be the one to bomb up and down that right-hand side, create another attacking outlet with his crossing ability. But it was a different role for Kieran Trippier in this game. If you look at the up-to-passing map from the game, you can see the general average position that Trippier took up that allowed Tino Livramento to move further up the pitch. And he played alongside Fabian Schär, tucking in that 1v1 role he had against Luis Diaz in that man-marking system. But also in attack, he stuck quite central, being able to pass that ball out wide to Jacob Murphy and just play around Liverpool as and when they did try to play through the thirds. But it was Trippier's defensive work that was the most impressive thing from this game. His calmness under pressure, the way he tracked the runs, and you can see it from this example here. Robertson just trying to direct ball over the top for Luis Diaz's run, but Trippier's read it from the start, tracks the run so well, but it's what he does under pressure that's so impressive. He could lose this aerial duel, he could get bumped underneath the ball, but he stays strong, times his jump well, and then has the composure under this physical pressure to just knock that ball down to Nick Pope. And this happened time and time again. There could be a highlight reel for the amount of times Kieran Trippier knocked that ball back to Nick Pope under pressure, and it was so important, especially in the early stages of that game. And the other thing that we know Kieran Trippier for, one of his key assets is his crossing ability, and we saw it time and time and again from set pieces. And you can see from the first goal, in the end of that first half, the outswinger, the swaz that he put on that ball, drifting it with pace flat into that back post area, time and time again. And in this example, Dan Burn did what he did in the whole game, just brushing McAllister aside and just powering it into that bottom left-hand corner. Vital goal for Newcastle at the end of the first half. And it was this set-piece delivery that was key. Without Trippier in this game, could they have done this? Could they have had that same level of threat from set pieces? And the answer is probably no. So along with that defensive ability, the attacking ability of Trippier and Tino Livramento were key to Newcastle winning this game. Now, if you love this analysis, make sure to check out my previous player-by-player breakdown of Newcastle's first 11 from that game. That was the one from the heart. This one's the one from the head. And I'll see you on the next episode of A Game of Two Halves.